I am filming myself on my new MacBook Pro that I bought last month. Um, I know my face is like really close to the screen. And I know. I look like shit. I look awful. I look horrible. I know. Thank you so much for reminding me. But always remember, you're still uglier than I am. As bad as I look, you look worse. Don't forget that shit. Welcome. How are you? It is November 7th, 2024. I was just goofing around, checking the updates on my fantasy football teams. It's very important. I know I haven't made a lot of videos this year. I know some of you are feeling like I abandoned the channel, and I get that. I guess I'm going to go down this road for a minute. I wasn't planning on this. I'm going to talk about some movies I got this week. I've already done a video on one of them. I'm going to talk about the others I just got. But I guess I was thinking about this earlier today. Last year I got really busy with the channel and I focused on getting as many subscribers as I could. And now I feel like this year it's been the opposite. I've been building a wall against those people who came and subscribed to me. I appreciate that. I do get emails once in a while asking me where I've been and why I'm not making more videos. So I guess I don't feel like I really owe anyone an explanation, but because there are a handful of you that are so supportive and cool, I'll just take a minute on that. I'm sorry. I'm the type of personality that if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to force myself to feel passion for something that I'm not necessarily feeling a lot of passion for in any given moment. I hope that makes sense, but I just haven't really been feeling it this year. I haven't been trying to build a wall against people, but I feel like that's how it can come across. Um, and life just hits you. I have a personal life that has nothing to do with this. So, it's been a busy year for me. I left my job. I've been trying to find a new job. I had decided to go to grad school. Then I decided I didn't want to go to grad school for reasons. I got accepted into several very cool, very nice, very prestigious schools, but I was seeing a very disturbing trend with all of them. Let me just say that higher education is not what it used to be. They all have very strange agendas that have nothing to do with education. So I had to make a really tough choice. I'd kind of been building up my entire year to go get another grad degree, but then recently I had to pull back from that. So my brain has been all over the place, and I apologize if a lot of you are feeling alienated by that. I get it. I would feel the same way, honestly. And so I apologize for that. I am human. I would just ask you to be a little patient with me. It's just been a year where my priorities have not been the channel. Last year it was. I just had more predictable free time, and this year I haven't had that. So anyway, I'm starting to feel the bug again. I'm starting to feel the passion again now that grad school's kind of been kicked out of the plan, at least for now. Um, yeah, life seems to be grounding itself a little bit more. I have felt very ungrounded all year. So anyway, I won't go on and on about it. I appreciate the messages I get from you guys. I do apologize. I know it's been kind of a weird year. I did think about that earlier today, as I said before. Last year, I spent so much time trying to build this subscribership and you know, I tried to build this little community and I feel like I did that. And then now this year, I've been putting up a brick wall and pushing out those people who have been joining this community. So, I'm human. What can I do? I'm fallible. I have plenty of fallacy to my being, and I'll freely admit it. I'm not perfect, and I apologize for those of you who feel like I've shunned you or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure very few of you have probably felt that, but I have gotten some emails are like, "What the fuck, man?" And by the way, again, I don't really feel like I don't feel like I need to give anyone an explanation for every little thing. I just don't owe that to anybody. But I tried the Discord thing earlier this year, and that was a fucking disaster. I'm just going to leave it at that. I opened it up and I thought I could trust my community to do the right thing, but literally on day one, it was clear like this was not going to work. It was way too much time and effort. I felt like a babysitter. It was like, yeah, I got to cut it. So just trust me. It was, look, I have a life and I don't have time to be a babysitter for a bunch of adults that I don't know. You know, my dedication level to something when it comes to babysitting a bunch of adult strangers is very low. You know, I'm just not going to dedicate myself to that. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm not going anywhere. I just haven't really been feeling the passion, and I don't want to force myself to feel passion when it's not there. Does that make sense? I hope you understand that. I mean, I'm a human being. I go through shit personally, and I just don't prioritize things like YouTube channels and shit. So sometimes I think I'll do it. There are plenty of days where I feel like I want to make a video, and then it's like, oh yeah, I don't want to do that at all. Um, anyway, I'm getting back into the rhythm though. I can feel it psychologically and mentally. I feel like I'm kind of getting back to that place. But yeah, it's I don't want to force something. I'll leave it at that. So here are some movies I picked up. I haven't even opened them, and I haven't really been buying records this year. I've talked about this in a previous or more than one previous video, but I've gotten to a point with records where I feel like I get tired. I'll give you an example. I get tired of trying to uh, play this vinyl game. I feel like it's a big shuffle now. You know, I feel like people who sell records, like I'm talking about the record companies, I feel like they're a bunch of fucking grifters now. You know, it's like, let's put out 20 different versions of the same album, make people scurry around the internet trying to find the version they want or prefer. And meanwhile, let's make a very limited number of them so they can't find them. So they have to turn to Discogs or eBay and pay 10 times the price. I'm fucking sick of that shit, man. I'm done. I get tired of it. The new Cure album came out. And I've listened to it a few times and I like it. And I'm going to do a video on it soon. But I wanted to buy the vinyl version. I literally have every Cure album on wax, and it's just kind of been a habit over the years that I buy the new Cure album on vinyl. I've always done it. I went to buy the new album and I couldn't find it. There was one version I wanted. There's like 10 different goddamn vinyl versions. There's black and there's clear and there's gray and all of these different colors, a variety of colors. There was one version I wanted. It was a double vinyl version, which all of them should have been. The album is like almost an hour long, so it should be on double vinyl anyway. But the majority of the versions were all on one record. And then there's one version that's on double vinyl. Could you find it? No, of course not. It was sold out everywhere. And the cheapest price you can buy it now is like 90 bucks on Discogs. They were selling it for like 35, $40 in the first place, which is way too fucking expensive, by the way. And that was for a US press. Here in the United States, it's costing you 35, $40 to buy a Cure record. So right away, it's like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I'm trying to find the double vinyl version. You can't find it. It's long sold out. Everywhere I went to, all of the distributors that had it for sale or companies online that had it for sale, there were these little notes saying like, there's a limit four per customer, a limit of four per customer. How about you make one per customer? You know, every motherfucker on the internet just went and bought four copies of this and then fucking jacked up the price on Discogs or eBay. Why is there a limit of four? Make it a limit of one. You know, that just tells me that these record companies, they're trying to give off the illusion that it's limited and they're being very careful about how many copies one person can buy, but they're not doing that. They just want to make money. And these vermin go and buy up every fucking they extend the limit of what they can buy for, and they just turn around and flip it. I'm not playing this game anymore. It's stupid. I mean, it's been going on forever anyway. But in recent years, it's never been more obnoxious to just try to find a record you want to buy. As a consumer, I just wanted to buy the double vinyl version of the new Cure album. That's all I wanted. Can't do it. That is not an option. I cannot do it. So, um, I've just decided to not play this game as much anymore. I did make a Juno order a couple weeks ago. I might do a video on new releases that I have picked up. But for the most part this year, I've taken a huge step back in picking up records because, like in the instance of the Cure album, as I was scurrying around like a rabid cockroach trying to find the version of the fucking album I wanted, I look on Apple Music and there it is in high res. Sounds great. And I don't have to pay a fucking dime. I mean, I do. I pay $10 a month for Apple Music, but you know what I mean. I could go pay $90 for this record I want, or I could pay nothing and just turn on Apple Music and hear a really beautiful version of it. So, Apple Music, I I take pride in not being a whore and a salesman for shit that I really don't care that much about. But I like bigging up Apple Music because it's a very awesome product. I mean, $10 a month and you get access to everything. Every piece of music you want and every piece of music you don't want. It's all there and at your fingertips. Much better than being a serious asshole and trying to dig into the web and finding the Cure record that you want because there's fucking 10 versions of it. Who has the time and the patience for this crap? You know, and the people who buy up the maximum amount of copies that they can buy, really? I know what are the Cure going to do? I know Robert Smith himself hates shit like this, like he's against it. I love him for that. And I get it. Like they want to put their record out. I mean, how else are they going to do it? But limit it to one per customer, not four. Why does one person need four copies if they're not going to flip it? What are you buying a copy for everyone in your family? Give me a break. One, one per customer. But these companies, they just want to sell out on the first day. You know, they're not interested in keeping a flowing stock over the weeks and months after a release date. They just want to sell everything right away and have big margins and yeah, it's tiresome and it's obnoxious and seriously, I don't want to play this game anymore. And yeah, I've been talking for quite a bit at this point. Hey, I'm back, right? Those of you who watch my channel, you know that every once in a while I do this. I will rant for 6 hours before I actually talk about the shit that I have in my title. Yeah, hey, sorry, that's my channel. Sometimes I do this. But yeah, fuck the record companies. By the way, I'm gonna go on. Has anyone bought any of the vinyl versions of the Cure album? Is it actually, does it sound good? That's the other thing about modern vinyl buying. Like you bust your ass trying to buy these records, then you get them on the turntable and you drop the needle down and they sound like shit. They're horrible pressings. So you realize you just scurried around trying to find all this crap and then you finally play it and it's like, oh, it's got marks all over it. It's ticking and popping. The needle's jumping. Wow. So much for quality control. I would hope that Robert Smith would have some modicum of quality control over his records. He usually does, but he doesn't have a spotless record either. Does anyone remember that initial repress of Disintegration that came out on Rhino about 15 years ago? It was terrible, awful. One of the worst repressings I've ever seen, if not the worst. They ended up fixing it later, but those initial copies, man, woof, tarnishing a legacy. And I'm not into it. Okay, let's get to the movies, all right? I talked about Caligula. I got that already. I think that came on Monday. Yeah, I think it came on Monday. These all just came yesterday. Or a few of them came on Tuesday, and then this one came yesterday. And this is the one I am super stoked about. Zodiac in 4K. I haven't opened it. And you physical media collectors of movies out there, you know who you are. Liz, I'm talking to you. And there are others out there. You physical media collectors, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm just going to make a statement. You know that the vast majority of your collection are still sealed. You haven't even opened them, have you? Come on, admit it. You spend all that money and time cultivating this beautiful physical media collection and you don't even open them. They're all sitting there still sealed. And then you have that conundrum. What the fuck am I doing with my life? I now have five different versions of the same fucking movie, and they're all sealed. What kind of consumerist slave am I? I live in a third world plantation of a country in the United States, and I hate that. And yet I play into it by buying all these different versions of the same movie, and they're all still sealed. You know who you are. Don't lie about it. I'm one of them. Listen, I know, I know. This is the third copy of Zodiac I have. And one of them's open. The other one's still sealed. I think I will be breaking this open though. This movie was made to be seen on 4K. But I just wanted to make a side note. You know who you are. You love showing off those massive 4K collections, and every fucking one of them are sealed. Yeah. You got to look yourself in the mirror real hard when you realize you've got 1,000 or even more physical movie media pieces in your collection, and the majority of them have never even been opened. Yeah. We all hate ourselves on different levels. It's part of being human, right? None of us are perfect. This movie was made to be made or to be seen on well, to be made too, but to be seen on 4K. This has become, when I saw this movie, you know what? No, this reminds me of something else. Well, I'll get through this thought. It's my brain's all over the place. I haven't done a lot of videos this year, so I have a lot to say, but uh, this movie has absolutely become one of my favorite movies of the last couple of decades. And I'm not a huge David Fincher film enthusiast across the board. I'm not a massive fan of his, but he does have a couple of movies that I really love. And this is at the top of the heap. I think in terms of David Fincher movies, this is by far his best movie. It's not even close. This is a beautiful piece of work, man. This is one of those movies where whenever I see it, it was on Netflix recently in the last few years. Every time I would see it available to watch, I'd watch it. I couldn't help it. I was like, man, I gotta watch that movie again. And I feel every time I see this cover or I see any allusion to Zodiac, I'm like, I gotta sit down and watch this. This is a brilliant fucking movie, man. It's perfect. Perfect in its execution, in its acting, in its directing, its writing. My God, this is a good movie. It is so good. And sometimes when I'm watching it, I feel like it shouldn't really work because it doesn't really focus. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of the main focus of the movie, and it's based on the book written by Robert Graysmith. And he is kind of the focus of the movie, but it's also focused on these other guys too. It has multiple narratives to it, and that rarely works in a movie, but it works here. This is a really wonderful movie, man. And I saw this movie in the theater and I wasn't excited to see it at the time, but it really opened my eyes. The first time I saw it, I was like, wow, what a cool movie. And then each time I've watched it, each successive viewing I've made, I just love it more. It's actually, that doesn't happen with me. Usually when I see a movie right away and I love it, it- something changes, like the time wanes, the societal pressures change, something changes, and I feel differently about the movie. And usually I feel more neutral about it, or maybe even less so. I like it less. This one I just like more. And that goes the other way too. Sometimes I see a movie in the theater, I'm like, yeah, whatever, and then I end up liking it more. I love this from the first time I saw it in the theater, and now I love it even more. And that's rare for me. I can only speak for myself, of course, but if you've somehow never seen this movie, check this out. This is just a beautiful piece of work. David Fincher at his very best. I do tend to like his movies too. I like I thought Panic Room was really cool. I never have liked Seven. I know people love that movie. I never liked Fight Club either. I think Fight Club is the biggest bloated, pretentious piece of poop. One of the most, at least. Never liked that movie. So Alien 3, again, not my thing. But Zodiac, mm, Panic Room, I thought was very good. The Killer, his most recent movie, I thought was really good. I thought his remake of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was really good. The dude, I thought Social Network was really good. Fincher's definitely got, and his movies are like, they're definitely eye candy. They suck you in right away, and you can't help but you can't take your eyes off the screen. Even with the movies I don't like, I'll give him that. Like you can't take your eyes off of it. I felt like Seven and Fight Club were just too sensationalistic. It was like watching a goofy music video, those movies. I thought they were dumb. What's the other movie he did? Benjamin Button. That movie was all right. It was all right. But again, that movie was fun to look at. This movie is where all of the things that Fincher does well all come together perfectly. And this has become one of my all-time favorite movies, just full stop. Not just of the last couple of decades, but one of my all-time favorites. This is such a good movie, man. So if you've somehow never seen this, you didn't want to see it because it was David Fincher or whatever the reasoning is, take the time to watch this movie, man. And this 4K, you get a commentary, you get some documentaries, and you get some shit, as you can see. What I was gonna say too, I was gonna make a side note here. Does anybody have a film critic that they like on YouTube that you watch and you enjoy? I'm seriously asking because I look for film critics on YouTube and I stumble across plenty of them, and I feel like there's two speeds of film criticism on YouTube. There's the person who gets really meta and super pretentious about movies, and they dive too deep into a film. And then there's the opposite, where it's kind of surface level positivity. They don't have anything critical to say. Everything they say is like they're either really complimentary and they never have anything negative to say, or it's the opposite. They only ever have negative things to say, nothing positive. I like film criticism that's kind of lurking there in the middle. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Like, I feel like I've written plenty of papers about movies and I know how to dissect a movie and get super meta about it and dive into every motivation and artistic choice the director makes. I get it, but it's boring to watch, man. Like when you're writing a paper, I remember um in one of my degrees I wrote like a 20-page dissertation paper on The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. If any of you ever want to read that, let me know. I'm a good writer. 20 pages on The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover. If you've never seen that, drop everything and go see that movie. That's a classic. Beautiful, great, funny, gross, disgusting, disturbing, awesome movie. All the things you want in a movie, it's all there. But that's the written form. When I'm watching somebody deconstruct a movie, it just fucking bores me, man. It's way too pretentious. So, does anyone know of a film critic that kind of toes the middle line there? They just talk about movies. They talk about some of the motivations, but they don't get super deep into it. It's like a real conversation like I'm having with you. And that's another thing. There's a woman, I can't remember her name. I always forget her channel name. I kind of like her. Like she has interesting things to say, but she's also like she's kind of fake, like she definitely like she loves deconstructing every little piece of a movie. You can tell she's an artist and I respect that. But she's kind of cheap. Like she'll stand there and she'll wear these spaghetti strap shirts and she shows off her tiny little A cup tits, and you look at her comments and every single comment is from a man. They're all like, you give me such great criticism. You tell me you uncover things in movies that no one else does. I'm like, yeah, you're just uncovering her with your eyes. That's all you're doing. She sits there half naked and gives these deeply meta dissertations about movies. And she's also reading off a card. You can tell she's reading off, she's looking off camera all the time. Like she'll blah, 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 blah. It's fake. And then it's also the quick edits. She has like a quick take and then it edits to the next take. And then it's the next take. And I mean, she's quickly editing every take she has, looking off the camera, adjusting her tits. I don't know. It comes off as fake to me. And I know I'm going on and on about this, but this is what I find about a lot of discourse when it comes to film is people they're not really selling their takes on film. They're selling the fact that they're half naked, or they're selling the fact they have a website, or they're selling always selling something. Whether they're really getting meta and deep about the movie, or they're just being positive about everything they talk about. They're always promoting something. Does anybody know of a film critic that doesn't do all this shit? Just a slob like me who sits here and talks about movies on a very I don't want to say a generic level, but a level that most people can relate to. Because when people get super pretentious about movies, I kind of lose it. I lose interest. I can do that, but does anybody really want to watch that? Really? And plus, I don't want to I can't again, it's good that I can't remember the woman's name who has this channel because I don't want to disparage her. Like she's got a lot of subscribers and I think she is interesting. She seems like a cool chick, but she's also yeah, she's kind of fake. You know, it's like you're really not she understands that she's not enticing film criticism as she stands there with her tits hanging out. She's selling something else. And so that counts for something, doesn't it? That means something to me. I have no interest in being pandered to. Talk about film and put some fucking clothes on. All right? I'll take you a lot more seriously. Anyway, if anybody knows of just like a down-to-earth film critic, other than myself, of course, let me know. Because I don't fucking see any. Really, I don't. There's one dude, he kind of falls into the all positive category. He never has anything critical to say, but I love recommending this guy because I just love his passion for film. His name's Daisuke, and I know some of you know about this guy. Daisuke Beppu. And this guy is the most lovable little man of film and film loving and film criticism that you can find. He's way too positive. He never, ever, ever says anything negative about anything. He's loved every movie that's ever been made. And that gets a little tiresome. I would love to see Daisuke say something negative about something. I think it compromises his credibility a little bit when all he has to say is positive shit. Come on, Daisuke. I know there's something out there you don't like. Come on, man. But I love Daisuke. Love this guy. Go check him out. If you've never seen Daisuke Beppu, you gotta find this guy. He just makes you feel good. He's so enthusiastic and positive about everything, but he's also that can get super annoying, I know, but he speaks from the heart. This guy just sees the world in a different way. He sees it in a very positive way, and you can tell that it's genuine. And really, that's all I care about at the end of the day is someone being genuine. Where did that come from? I know half of you are asleep and you're done and you're gone and you don't want to watch this. Most of you have long tuned out to this video and good. Bye, whatever. I mean, really, who am I kidding? This whole channel is just a self-masturbatory exercise. A lot of this is just journalistic rambling. This is the other thing I got, and I haven't even opened it yet, as you can see. How many versions of this do I have? I don't fucking know. I lost count. Maybe the fifth. I mean, I've got maybe a couple DVDs, a few Blu-rays, now a couple of 4K versions of this. I'm a fucking degenerate collector. What do you want from me? All right. This is the new 4K tin case, metal case, whatever the fuck version of Escape from New York. How many versions can you have of Escape from New York? Not enough. That's the only answer. The only correct answer is not enough. Okay. This just came out this week. I don't know that I even love this cover, but I saw it and I was like, fuck it, I'm getting it. Part of the, I guess maybe I could open this, maybe have a bit of an unboxing. I don't know. It's just a tin case. The next one, maybe I will unbox this. Why not? Escape from New York, though. How much do we love this movie? I just did my John Carpenter list a few weeks ago. This was number two, I think, right? It has to be. The Thing would be number one. Escape from New York, number two. Filmmaking at its very best, right here, baby. Escape from fucking New York. And one of the things that I have a distaste for, could you come up with some new special features every time you re-release this? This has been re-released, I don't know how many times, 100? And every time you get the same canned, rehashed, repackaged special features. Can you just do one? Just one new thing? I mean, maybe there is, and I'm not seeing it, but as I look at this, I don't see anything new. So, yeah. Did it stop me from spending my money? No. So what am I talking about? You're right. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, and then this is the third thing I got. Wizard of Oz. I don't have any version of this. I've never bought this on any form of physical media. But when I saw this, and by the way, who doesn't love the nice round number of 85th anniversary? 85th anniversary. I swear these companies will come up with any selling tag, any angle they can. The 85th anniversary. I look forward to the 89th anniversary edition. I mean, come on. But okay, it's been 85 years. I picked this up because yeah, it's got some stuff with it, man. It's got all this crap crammed in there. It's Dolby Vision, which I've said this before, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that if you're in 4K, if you're into the whole 4K thing and you don't have an OLED screen, you are disservicing yourself. You need an OLED screen with a Dolby Vision presentation. The OLED and the Dolby Vision communicating with each other is the grandest, greatest, most amazing picture you will ever get. Dolby Vision and OLED. Seriously, if you don't have an OLED and you're doing 4K, you're doing it wrong. Sorry, it just is what it is. Your QLEDs, no, no. Your LCDs and LEDs, okay. I mean, come on. If you're going to commit yourself and throw your money down on the table and buy this shit, OLED it's really the only way to go. And I look forward to I haven't watched the Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's been years. It's been a long time. Um, I mean, why would I? It's the we all see this when we're kids, and then we get to be adults, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of adults who buy this and watch it, but I'm definitely going to be watching this, and I'm glad I haven't watched it in a long time because I want to see this fucker in glorious OLED and glorious Dolby Vision. And yeah, it's got some of the physical traits of this. You get some replicas of some old lobby cards, you get some little posters, um, you get stuff. I'm tempted to break this open, but I've noticed every time I do an unboxing video, people don't really care. They don't give a shit. For some odd reason, you guys watch my videos so you can see my hideous face and hear my opinions. You guys are truly disturbing. The fact that you want to see this ugly thing spurt out ugly words means that You guys have some serious problems you need to be dealing with. But until you deal with those problems, why don't you pick this up? I think I paid shit fucking too much. I think this was like 70 bucks or something, 60 bucks. So not cheap, but you do get a bunch of crap and it's fun. I don't already own this, so I was motivated to buy it because every time they re-release something that I know I have five or six different sealed copies of, it's like, okay, how many versions of this do I need? But I don't have any physical copies of this, so this was a no-brainer. This I did hesitate on this, I have to admit. But it's Escape from New York, man. If if you're a massive John Carpenter fan, are you not buying this? I almost feel like it's a disservice to not buy it. I love John Carpenter. I want to make sure that he's getting paid until the day he dies. And I love John Carpenter enough that I will always try to support him whenever I can. John Carpenter, I love you. And this is the one I'm truly most excited about. And as I sit here staring at this, I feel like I want to do a video on this movie alone. I fucking love this movie. Go watch this. Forget about all of your preconceived notions about David Fincher and just sit down and watch this. This is a beautiful, perfect movie. Perfect movie. Awesome. All right. I'm gonna get out of here, man. Hang in there, and I'll talk to you later.